Welcome back to the continuing adventures of the monad. We take up this presentation where we left off in the last, with a diagram showing two paths a disciple can walk along. These paths are not independent. They eventually emerge at the fifth initiation, I-5, known as the One Way, which is a combination of all ways. It is worth revisiting our understanding of the 7 rays that govern us. You have 3 primary rays and 4 subsidiary rays. These 4 minor rays eventually merge into the 3rd ray. This combination goes on to merge with the 2nd and the 1st rays. These rays do not arrive to us directly from the first plane of matter, where dwell the mighty monads that energize the whole universe. These 7 rays are filtered through the body of the solar logos, which functions on the 2nd ray. I suspect it is filtered through more evolved bodies as well. So, whatever ray you happen to be considering, it is colored by the 2nd ray of love and wisdom. For us here on the Earth scheme, it is even more nuanced than that, because the energy coming from the solar logos is received by the planetary logos, which is functioning on the 3rd ray. Yet another filter to consider before any of those 7 rays express themselves in us or our environment. Before we go any further, let us look at the 2 columns in this table and compare them. The first column starts with desire, so we know we are dealing with the emotional envelope as the starting point. The other column is headed by mind. The nature of desire is to aspire, and the nature of mind is to project. It is in the emotional envelope that we take the 1st and 2nd initiations. This is where we move the focus of attention of our monad into the emotional envelope from our physical envelope. This is the I-1. The attention of the monad is then expressed through the lower 3 subdivisions 48, 5 to 7 of this envelope. The 2nd initiation, I-2, moves the focus of the monad from the 48-1 permanent atom into the 47-4 permanent molecule. The jumping off point for this initiation is in the emotional envelope in the higher 2 sublevels 48-2 and 48-3, and that is why it is found in this column. The I-3 and I-4 first see the monad transition from the 47-4 permanent molecule, taking the I-3, into the 47-1 permanent atom. This is not just a change of atomic or molecular address, but a change of triads as well. The I-4 starts from the mental envelope now operating in the 2nd triad and moves into a new envelope, the unity or essential envelope 46. This may not be a change of triads, but it is a change of kingdoms, which is an even bigger step along the path of return. This is definitely a projection exercise. First, the will has to be projected to construct the Antahkarana, and then a leap has to be made where the causal body is cast aside as the monad enters the 5th kingdom of nature. Back to the first column. Here you find the principles of universal love and intuition. We are now expressing ideals found in the 2nd triad and emanate from the 5th kingdom. Intuition is actually an expression of universal love as it is expressed itself in a monad's consciousness, while focused in the emotional body. In the 2nd column, universal will emanates from world 45, which sits at the other end of the 2nd triad and projects its energies into the mind, represented here by the monad's focus in the 47-1 permanent atom. It should be noted here that although we are talking about pathways that initiates from either the emotional body or the mental body, all monads have to move the focus of their consciousness sequentially through both envelopes. What is being discussed here is the manifestation of intent, as the monad expands its consciousness. The concept of the path of light is, as it says in the name, one of illumination. This links back to intuition. Just knowing things. Knowledge floods in and illuminates the soul. This is usually linked to an aspirant following a life of service. This path of development automatically leads to an understanding that is given through grace to the monad. Look after others and the hierarchy will look after you. The way of higher evolution is a more proactive path to walk, and one that is very focused on knowledge in all its manifestations. This will be highlighted in a minute. The point to note here is that a monad walking this path is bringing into manifestation aspects of the divine plan. This may be in the fields of art, culture, science, law, politics, or the humanities. These manifestations of knowledge do not distill out of thin air. They have to be sought by monads who are driven to share what they are intuiting as they extend their gaze into the lower realms of the causal world. Eventually, they are directly inspired by causal and unity-focused monads who feel the time is right to make this visible to humanity, an idea, or allow that expression of beauty to enter our world and refine our souls. The point of contact is linked to the consciousness aspect of the Trinity and occurs through resonance on the 48, 46, and 44 worlds. The Antahkarana, as we know, is a physical structure and is worked up by the matter aspect of the Trinity. Interestingly, the plan is found in the first column. This column is focused on the consciousness stream of development. It is in consciousness that a plan is held. It exists as a template. But what is the purpose of this plan? That answer is sought by the monad walking the path that is exemplified by the second column. Purpose is linked to energy and leads to will, that leads to the enactment of a plan, the plan, into physical manifestation. In the first column, we find mention of the 3 layers of the causal lotus. This is a physical structure, the physical manifestation of 12 of our solar devas. We will discuss the significance of this structure and the connections that flow from it in the next presentation. In the second column, we see the spiritual triad. This refers to the third triad. The focus of the monad walking this path is to move its consciousness into the 6th kingdom of nature. The disciple along the first path intends to work their way through the hierarchy. This body operates at a solar systemic level, 43 to 49. The second path is towards Shambhala. This is a cosmic realm outside the solar system, although it has symbolic roots in the lower planes of matter. This links back to the Master's ashram found on plane 45, but also on the third triad, where the Kohans focus the 7 rays. It is at this level that the ashram lies. There is one Kohan that is responsible for a ray. The second ray is governed by none other than the founder of Hylozoics, Pythagoras himself. The second column is striving towards the council chamber, where Sanat Kumara holds court with the 6th Buddhas of activity. Well, 3 passive ones and 3 active ones. And I'm not sure even if all of them are still around, but you get the general idea. The final entries in each column are identical. Both paths leads to the 7 paths. We have briefly touched upon what these 7 paths are in previous presentations, I think. This is where a monad decides where it wants to focus its energies in its subsequent development in the solar system. Decisions made here are not irrevocable. A monad can swap paths at key junctures on higher planes of matter. For instance, when it goes cosmic at the I8, it is even possible for a monad evolving along the human stream to swap into the devic stream. Not sure how many divas would want to swap into our stream. In the next presentation, we will focus on the three aspects of the mind and their focal points. Thank you.